an ambush, a very effective ambush, which ended up in the loss of many police lives. So I think we need to keep them separate so that we can deal with them, because if we boil them all together, then it becomes, unwieldy.
Now, if you look at one thing that some people have mentioned, that is the issue of the JTF now being under verbal attack by human rights activists.
Unfair verbal attack.
Well, you may say it is unfair, but some people feel it is fair. Well, some people feel it is fair
based on
to
ignorance.
Say that. And thank you. Let me finish the question.
Let me just add those. Let's qualify it very well so that we can get the real question out there.
Now, when people say that, and then you have a chance to speak with ex-military men and some serving military men who are saying that if these people continue to kill our officers in this way, then they deserve what is coming to them. That further fuels the feeling that there might be some amount of things going on from the JTF side that will cause people to say what they say. Would that be right in any way? No,
sir, it's very wrong. It's patently wrong. It's patent falsehood, damnable falsehood. In fact, it's hellfire falsehood, if I may add that. Now, what is happening is all about Baga. Let's go back to Baga for a second. It's a good case study. Now, in Baga, the bad guys stood up and fought the military toe to toe. The military lined up and they were shooting. So there was, in fact, a front line. So they saw that, no, these people, they are serious. And they have a lot of munition. They have a lot of material, as it were, firepower. Thank you, ma. And they can worst us. And so what did they do? They caused mayhem as they were retreating to slow down the military. And then they eventually retreated and lost about 30 of their members. Now, but what happened was you had a situation where mischievous local government officials came out there and started banding figures. They say, it looks like they killed 185. So when the state government officials came in, they picked up on those numbers. And that's how that got into the thing. And now, you remember there was another mischievous attempt by another media organization, international media organization, not media, human rights organization, with all due respect, sir. Another human rights organization saying that there had been a killing of young boys playing football in a field. Then later they retracted it. So you see, what I'm saying is this is a problem I have, and this is something which I discussed with your people on air yesterday. You have a situation where some politicians, for whatever purposes, are going around trying to tar the military black. And that is very, very unfortunate and very unpatriotic. So there is nothing, the military is a disciplined military. They know what they are doing. They are trained. They are motivated. They are there to do a job. And so when they confront the enemy, they do what they can. And at the end of the day, it's the military that took 5 Boko Haram members to the hospital, even to be treated. So I'm saying their interest is to arrest them. But if they can't arrest them, if the people are shooting at them, the rule of engagement is to shoot back and defend yourself and then defend members of the public. So for anybody to say somebody comes to, sir, you don't come visiting me with rocket launchers, RPGs. Now they even carry anti-aircraft guns. You don't come visiting me with those and firing at me and say you are playing with me. That is no play. That's no way to play.
Mr. Dairo, one headline in some paper today says that the federal government may be considering declaring state of emergency in 1 or 2 of those states where these activities have been escalated. What are your thoughts about a state of emergency?
Well, as it is, the situation is, I wouldn't say a state of emergency is out of order. In a situation like this where killing is so rife, and with the kind of firepower that these people bring to table, so I think a state of emergency is well in line. But beyond the state of emergency, I think a lot of intelligence also is necessary here, and we need to start calling a spade a spade. Okay, now why would the local authority come out and confuse the figures?
Chief.
What are their motivation? What is their interest, like you said, in that? Okay, so I think intelligence needs to start coming to the front line. And I would beg politicians, these things shouldn't be politicized. It's been over politicized for too long, and that element needs to be taken out of it. When at the Obama election, for all the bickering and what have you between Obama and Kerry, you would probably be surprised that you will conclude that Kerry will be the last person to work in an Obama administration. But see what we have today. When can we have such in Nigeria? Okay, and all those things between the presidency and politicians bickering, attack, there's a way it heats up the system. I think this kind of things should also stop. There should be some responsible leadership here.
Okay, that's good. And then going on a bit further into solution, some people are saying that we should spend more time talking to those Boko Haram members who are in prison, those who have been caught and arrested and put in prison. What would an organization like a peace-building one that you represent, what would you be proposing to government?
We beyond talking to, because if you're talking to the those who have been arrested, the question is, what are you just asking them? Okay. Of course, what it implies, of course, is government is looking at what it needs to do in terms of the package for the amnesty, and also in terms of the security that it needs to use to address the issues of the extremisms in the northern part of Nigeria. I think our advice will go beyond the issues of Boko Haram as a group. Boko Haram is a product of communities. Human beings, those who are members of Boko Haram also are coming from communities. And there are issues in communities that, as I said before, needs to be looked into critically. There should be a level of strengthened relationship, even in terms of the ways that the securities are addressed. Security has gone beyond just, yes, very critical that we should be able to protect sovereignty as a nation and be able to look at issues of ensuring that there is order. But it is impossible to do this without also the proper engagement of communities to ensure that security becomes security of the people. People should also be involved in levels of support in terms of what kind of security that is put in place to address or secure them as a people. And also, in terms of issues of security as human security, we should also look at what are the basic things that are fanning the embers of violence within communities. So we should look at it from two ways. The proactiveness of intelligence. Intelligence is not just the reserve of the military or the police. I think in developed communities, developed countries, they seek the support of communities, in ensuring that there is effective intelligence gathering. So where is the relationship that exists between communities, for instance, and the military and the police in providing a comprehensive intelligence that addresses the issues of concerns of the country as a whole? And if you look at that, then some of the risk factors that may emerge that communities themselves will see as an evolving problem that may finally burst out into the violence may now become things that governments will use the various other structures that exist to begin to address them on time, so that we don't get to the level where we now have the kinds of extremisms, the kinds of threats that we have, and the kinds of politics, like you talked about, the issues that people are using sentiments, ethnicities, and religions, to divide or to create risk of divisions of the country. So I think it's important for us to look at the linkages. How do we engage communities to address the issues of security?
The issue of our porous borders,
yes,
this has been talked about and overflogged, and yet nothing seems to be done about the porous border. You mentioned earlier that it is said that most of these guys came in from Niger, from Chad, from northern Cameroon. Isn't it time we began to do something about our borders?
It's about time. I agree with you. I agree with you. It's about time. So what do? we need a good border control policy. In fact, this is not a policy thing. This is an emergency. It's a border control emergency. Why don't we have immigration is not able to even police the semi-borders, talk more of policing the northeastern borders.